What the hell is that? I don't understand how, like, a tri-spoke and a disc is only getting 3 stars. Like, Zwift, make this make sense. How on earth would a tri-spoke and a disc have 3-star arrow and yet a 4.5 envy be 4? Right? Or a 404 zip. So a 404 zip is the same aerodynamic. That is the same aerodynamic properties as that. Like, that doesn't make sense. And they have this one too, where it's like, I don't understand. Like, why is the tri-spoke so slow? Like, it doesn't, fundamentally, it doesn't make sense. A tri-spoke is going to be faster than a 50mm wheel. Like, unless it was manufactured, like, you know, with square, like a square rim. Like, it should be faster. Anyways, that doesn't make any sense. So I'll just do that. What I'm working on right now, or for this next block, is I need to get the Zwift bikes. So everything else is upgraded. The Specialized Project 74, as you can see, I've maxed that one out, the Halo bike. And I thought to myself, okay, so now I can max out the rollerblade thing, and then max out the time trial bike here. But what I'd like to do is get it so that I'm in a position that all the Halo bikes can be upgraded. And the Zwift, I didn't realize that the Zwift concept, like the Tron bike, you need to have 3 Zwift bikes at level 5 before you can start upgrading the Tron bike. Didn't realize that. So I want to get them all into that position. So I finished the... where is it? They're really quick, the Zwift bikes, because like they don't ask you for that much. So this one, the Aero bike, is fully upgraded. Then now I'll just do the TT bike, and then I guess I'll do like am I allowed doing the hand cycle? Am I allowed doing that? Because it's 4-star Aero. Either that or I'll do the carbon, which doesn't look very fast at all. It's got 1-star Aero. Anyways, so I'd rather do the hand cycle, but I'm not actually sure if I'm allowed to ride that. Like, do you need to be on like a hand ergometer to do that, or can anybody? Anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. Yeah, that's good. So we're just gonna go Tempest. I feel like we gained enough meters yesterday to justify going to Tempest today. And even though nobody's really here right now, I'm gonna just start talking because it's only an hour-long ride. And if people want to go back and see later, then they can do so. But I won't like be like, oh, I'm gonna wait 30 minutes or something. I'm just gonna start riding. So let me make sure that's good. Elite. So the Elite Justo, This is the Elite Justo 2 that I have. The Justo app, I'm not like, I'll tell you, I'm not blown away with it right now. I'm kind of like, there's some nice things, yes, and like I have not explored all of the things yet. Like there's this, like maps and courses, training tests, can go with the ARIA, FTP tests. It's got a lot of stuff in it, but just like the program mode, or like the the power mode, is not super impressive. I will say, first and foremost, like, and it's the same with Training Peaks actually, and I messaged Training Peaks about it. You guys got to make your fonts bigger, and I know that makes me sound like I'm 150 years old, but like, seriously, the fonts on some of these things, it's like, it's nice if the, phone is like this, or if your computer's beside your face, but like, it doesn't make sense if you got your computer, what, three feet away from you, right? We all connected? Yeah. Okay, start. I don't know why it does that too. When I start, it then just slows me to a crawl. Like it puts the brakes on. Do you see that? Like it stopped me in my tracks there. And right now I'm pedaling. But apparently I'm not. Hold on, I know what's happening. I got it. Hold on. I gotta restart this. 1 second. It does not like when you have this is the other thing about it. Saris was never like this. You can't have the Justo paired here and paired in the app at the same time. Doesn't like it. And I'm just doing the Justo as the power source today because I just want to see if how the Bluetooth performs here. And it's a nothing right anyway, so I don't really care if it's what the power is or anything, even though it's pretty much one of the most accurate power meters you can buy. So let's see if it now works. It should work now. So it should lock me in. Anyway, so discussing yesterday's events, and sorry, my face looks like it's really cut off right now. Yeah, I gotta change that. That's stupid. Give me 1 second. That's good. Okay. Anyway, so yesterday's. So there were a lot of comments yesterday during the stream. People were asking, like, what was the record? Like, are we at it? Did we get it? So, quick answer, no. So what was the record? So Zwift did an article about the record, and they had announced it as 7:17. If you go back and look at the file, it's 7:20:30. I don't know where 7:17 came from. No idea. You could even see during the actual ride what time the person went through and got the badge. It was 7:20. I have it screenshotted on my phone. 7:20. Let me get the actual. I'll just go with my screenshots. Right here. So the time that they went through 8848 was 7:20:27. Don't know where 7:17 came from, but it was 7:20:27. That was the time going for. Now, a lot of people said also, like, and I've seen this before, like, oh, I've seen, somebody did, 6:10 or 6, or there's even one out there at like 5:54. The record that I was going for, when we're talking about in terms of Zwift, we have to look at what hill it was done on. And so there's specific records for each climb when you think about it. Because, so there's a record for the Alp, and then there's a record for the radio tower. The radio tower, like, ultimately on everesting.com, they have them all like packed together, but in reality it's kind of like the record that we were going for yesterday was what was the fastest time for an Everesting done on the Alp, and that was the one that was going for. Now, somebody said as well, oh, I think some guy did 7:06 for the Alp, better than Michael's 7:20:27. If you look at that one, that was in a group. So there were like 6-7 guys doing it, like cycling off in a group, which to me it's not really fair, right? Like, if I got, let's say, the Tempest record is, I don't know, 7:30 or something like that. Or sorry, the solo Tempest, let's say the record was 8:30. I'm just pulling a number out, right? If it's 8:30, and I say, listen, I'm going to go after the record, and I pump up with, 10 guys, all of whom we're going to do pulls at 7.5 watts per kilo, right? And we're going to blitz through Tempest at 55k an hour and break the record. Did we, though? Not really. And yes, people could say, well, you don't get that much of a draft on the Alp. Yeah, but on the descent you do. Right? And you definitely get something going up. There are parts on the Alp where you will get draft. Right? There are turns where it will flatten out enough that if you have 6 people with you, you're going to get a draft. And definitely, if anything, definitely on the descent. Thanks so much, and thanks so much for joining yesterday. You were really, really helpful with the encouragement throughout. I really appreciated it. Right now, I feel actually pretty good. I was tired. Like last night, I was just tired. Like it was a long day, kind of tired. I wasn't as sore as I thought I would be. And that's not to say like, oh, did I go too easy or anything like that. I talked a little bit about this on my Instagram, that it's like, so if you think about, like, so for me, LT1 is around 280 watts. And I have all the numbers here, that the climb number 1 was 306. Climb number 2 was 307. Climb number 3 was 307. Climb number 4, that's when things started getting a little crazy. And so I watched it back and then also looked at the numbers. And yeah, climb number 4, like, I was pretty good for a pretty long stretch, actually. That, like, here, for the first 20 minutes of it, I'm still at 301, so we're on sub 40 pace. So 3.5. And then the next 20 minutes of that climb, of the 4th climb that is, then we're at 246. And then it was the 5th climb where I started out feeling, okay, we might be back. And then it was the last chunk of that climb where then we went down at 224. The average on that climb was 235. And so after that, so it was 306, 307, 307, this is, let me get the 4th climb, is 275. So 306, 307, 307, 275, and then this one should be 235. 235, and then it went 255, 263, 266, and then the last 20 minutes for the 8.5 was 289. Normalized 290. So the thing is if you look at it in terms of like how I feel, like physically, the first 3.5 climbs are above LT1. And so they're putting a pretty good dent into the legs, like in terms of how I'd be feeling for today. But the next 5 hours, while feeling really hard, by the numbers, like your legs, to me, they don't really care, like from a muscular standpoint. What I've always found, for me personally, is they don't really care if your blood sugar's in the tank, right, and your glycogen's pretty much tapped. It's like, what they're seeing at your legs for that 5th climb is 235. And so, like, for them, they're like, this is borderline zone 1 on a 7-zone model. Definitely zone 1 on a 3-zone. Right? There's a lot to do for next time, which I'll get into today. I think that can be done better for sure. There are things like, I've already thought about 15 things that can be different. I think overall, like, thinking about the day, so what I was saying is, like, it's not that, in terms of how I'm feeling, I don't actually feel that bad physically. Like, I was tired from it being just a long day. And there was some soreness in some odd places, like kind of underneath my shoulder blades. There was some soreness, even this morning. But as often as it is, I went for a swim and went for a walk after that. And yeah, I feel perfectly kind of good right now. Not that much of a problem. I am kind of hot right now because I'm in tights, because it was the only thing I had clean. I didn't want to put on a wash, but yeah, it's not bad feeling right now. My fan's getting a little bit blocked by my computer here. There. So there's a lot, I think, for the next time. Like, so, this is what I want to say. So, first off, pacing. I might, for the next time, take a little bit off. For sure, for the first couple. But it's really hard. 2 reasons. Like, one, I wouldn't take so much off that, like, I wouldn't go 280 on the first, which is going to be like a 43-minute climb, maybe even 44. I wouldn't do that, because to get the record, you need to go 41 and 11. You need to be going 52-minute round trips for 8.5, because 52 times 8 is 6 hours 56. So you're starting that final half of a climb at 6:56. And then if you do it, say 20 minutes, 21 minutes, you got the record. But like just barely. Like you broke it by like a second. But that's roughly what it needs to be. And the descents will be a little bit quicker than the 11. So that's where you'll get, your couple minutes there. They'll be like 10:40, 10:50 in that range. Couple maybe in the 10:30s, and you got it. The point is you need to be climbing at 41 minutes a pop. And so I didn't want to leave it so that it's like I climbed 43 or something like that, or 44 even in the first, because it's really hard to just be like, yeah, so if I do that, odds are is that come number 6 and 7, 5, 6, 7, I can make up that 3 minutes, right? Of course, you can say in hindsight, yeah, probably could do it, and you're in a better position maybe to do it, but it's definitely not guaranteed, is my point, to like bank on saying, yeah, so 5 hours into the ride, I'm going to be at that point, 5 hours in, hitting 290 to 300 watts for 40 minutes at a time, 41 minutes at a time. It's not a guarantee, for sure, right? So, like, it's really hard to just bank on that, like, because that's what you're doing. When you're doing a negative split, and I'm not beating on the negative split at all, like almost every single record in running, for example, from like the 1500 meter up, has been done as a negative split. So there's no doubt. But, when you're talking ultra endurance things, negative split is you're banking on that you're gonna feel good 5-6 hours in. And for me, like, especially when we get 6 hours plus, well, how many rides have I done 6 hour plus in the build up? Well, I did one that was 6 hours and 6 minutes or whatever, but we're at an N of 1, right? So it's like, it's kind of uncharted territory to just be like, yeah, no, six hours plus in, I'm gonna crack 5 watts per kilo for 40 minutes. Still at that point, two climbs to go, let's say. That's a big ask. That's a big gamble. You gotta be pretty damn confident in the training. On the flip side, you have to be confident to do the other. And I would say going in yesterday, my intention, so if I think I said it on the stream too, my intention was to do about a 290 on the first and then lock into 300s. As I said, it went 306, 307, 307, and then 301 to the halfway of the fourth, when then I started bonking. But honestly, starting out yesterday on 1, 2, and 3, and like you could see it in the stream, I felt great. I was joking around. There was zero like, oh, I'm having to press for 39:30s. I honestly felt, and I know this sounds weird, but I felt like for 39:30, I was truly holding back. Like, I felt like I could easily have pushed those 38, without too much, like, issue. The Alp, I would say, yeah, that was another, the grade was a thought of mine as well. And I do think the grade might actually be the best kind of compromise. It'd be interesting to do it on that. I did think about it, like that the radio tower is very short. So for me, when I do the radio tower, we're targeting 5 minutes each. So 5 minutes times roughly 58 climbs. Technically it should be 59. But it depends what the turnaround situation is, as I've talked about before. But it means that the descent is extremely short. So you are, and I felt this on the time I did 20 of them, the radio tower climb, you are locked in for, sorry, the camera's still not good here, but I don't know, it seems like I can't really reach it at this point, but you could hear me, as long as you could hear me. Yeah, it's like, it's so short of a descent on the radio tower that it's like you were just locked in for 6 hours plus, or 6 hours, let's say, right, for me, at the pace that I'd be shooting for. So it's the grade, I feel like you could kind of get off just for a second, like not, you're not getting off and doing what you can do on the Alp for sure, but you have a little bit more time, right, that you could take, if you're quick, you could take a bathroom break, like while on the descent. As I said, you have to be quick about it. You're not doing what you could do on the Alp, which is like, you know, you can bake a pie in between, but it's definitely not the radio tower where like you get to the top and you got your hand on the turnaround button pretty much. That's what it feels like for me, at least. Like you accelerate when you hit the turnaround, you take like one swig of fluids, and then you got your hand like ready to turn around so that your guy doesn't, you know, go all the way back down the epic KOM. And so yeah, the grade is for sure something that I'd like to try at some point. And I think that gets to yesterday's, like, kind of my thoughts on it. And when I say like I'd like to try it, like the bonk, and I said it multiple times yesterday, wasn't like, it didn't scare me away from it. I don't look at the thing and be like, oh, I can never do that and I never want to do that again. I think it happened, and it's kind of like, yeah, okay, stuff happens. Are there things that I could change? I think, yeah, for sure, to try to avoid having that happen again. Would I hold back to the point that, as I said, I'm doing 270 or 280 on the first? No. I think I'd still go 300. It's just maybe we push, like, here's a thing that me and my dad talked about. It's like, maybe we just push the weight, like my weight, up to 62 kilos. So like we really go wild on the carb loading, right? And we have no holds bar. We're not like, oh, well, okay, like, you know, I'm gonna carb load, but like, don't be stupid, right? Because here, like, there is a thing where it's like, weight makes a difference. It's not like, if this was, put it this way, if this was a flat time trial or something like that, or a triathlon, like an Ironman, I would have ate more the night before for sure, because I wouldn't have cared if, oh, hey, you know, you weigh in at 135.6, which means you need to round up to 62. I wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to eat as much as, like, I'm going to eat past being full, essentially, and just keep eating. Here it was like, and I don't think there's any, I think that was my other analysis, like, of yesterday. It's a long climb. Like, it is a hard effort, no question. Especially, like, on the 100% trainer difficulty, like, there's no getting around that. Someone said it yesterday, talking about the cadences. It's like, you are going to be at some pretty low cadences. Like, I got a 34 tooth on the front, specifically purchased for it. And you saw yesterday, some of the climbs near the end, I was averaging 59 RPM for 45 minutes at a time. And like if you said to someone like for a low cadence workout, like I do a lot of low cadence workouts, I prescribe a lot of low cadence workouts, but if you said to someone like, hey, you're gonna do like, even just let's take half of it, we're gonna do 4 times 45 minutes at 55 to 60 RPM. I would be, even as a coach or the guy doing it, either side of the coin would be like, what? 45 minutes times 4? Let alone times 8.5? I'd be like, you out of your mind, right? You know, when I think of low cadence sets, like I think like a really big one is like 3 times 20. That's like, we're building to that for a while, right? I ain't prescribing that first time around. Like, first low cadence stuff that I usually give to people is like 3 times 5 minutes. Like, I don't think I've ever got someone doing 45-minute reps, low cadence. And so my point is no matter what time you're going for, whether it's 7:20 or 8:20 or 10:20 or 15:20, right? It's a lot of climbing. It's hard on your legs, no question, no matter what. So huge respect to anyone who does it, especially given, and I said this yesterday to my mom on the phone, like, so, and this comes to the pacing. If you had said to me yesterday, okay, listen, so the record's 7:20:27 for a solo Everest on the Alpe d'Huez. Let me just take a drink. One sec. So that's what we're going for. If you said to me, okay, so that's the time to beat. If you get under 7:20:27, I'm gonna give you $1,000, hypothetically, right? If someone said that to me, I would have paced yesterday differently, 100%. I would have started, as I said, been like, nope, I don't care if you're feeling good. You're riding 290 on the first, 285 to 290, and then we're gonna lock into those 300s, and that's it. Like, you are gonna be insanely disciplined on the first couple. I don't care if you're feeling great. I don't care if, as I said yesterday at one point, I have a diamond leg day, right? And as soon as I said that, then the trainer started clipping out. But if someone said that, yes, I would have done that type of a pacing. But for here, for me, like in the position that I'm in that, like, there's no money on the line here. This is just literally a personal challenge. And so with that, it was like I started out and I'm like, my legs feel great. Okay, let's see how the second climb feels. Alright, they still feel great. Actually, they feel even better. Let's see how the third climb feels. Yeah, no, they feel even better. And I know it because I'm beating the hologram now up the climb. Right? Every time. Right? And even starting out the fourth. I'm like, yeah, no, my legs still feel really good. And I'm thinking about the time too and being like, holy crap, like, we're gonna go 650. Because that's what basically I'm paced for at that point. Like, if I go in, give me a sec. So, if I go here, whoops, thing minimized. So, if I go 3 climbs, oh, so I got to the bottom of climb number 3 at 2 hours and 30 minutes. 31. 2 hours 31. Okay? Normalized power at the bottom of the climb, so starting out on the 4th, is 289 watts. Average 266. AKA, we're rolling. Like, we are absolutely rolling here. We're at a VAM of, I think that's 1409 VAM. So let's just say 230. Let's work out what we're on pace for. So 230 is what? Well, it's 50-minute round trips, right? No, sorry, it's, what are we at here? Yeah, 50 minutes. That's right. So we're at a 50-minute round trip. So times 8, it means we're on pace to be starting that half a climb, which even yesterday we did in 2026. So it means we're on pace to do that plus that, 7 flat. So we're on pace for 7 flat is what we were on. What we were on for through at the bottom of the 3rd. Even at the bottom of the 4th, where the 4th, as you saw, we bonked massively. Even at the bottom of that one, we're at 325. So 3 hours 25 times 2 would be 6. What would that be? 325. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom of the 4th. So does that make sense? Yeah, because that's, so we would have been 6. Just trying to work out here. So what did I say I was at the other one? 50-minute round trips. So that would have been what, a 54-minute round trip on that one? Did that make sense? Yeah, 54. Yeah, it would have been a 44-minute, somewhere around there. Anyways, so you're getting to the bottom of number 8 at 325 times 2. So you're at 6 hours 50. So even after the bonk, I'm still on pace to do 7:10. So we're still on pace at that point to break the record by over 10 minutes. And that's including the bonked 4th. So it's like, I don't know what I was saying. I think, like, I need to go back and actually see what I was talking about there. I literally lost my train of thought just thinking about all the numbers. Totally lost it. But, oh, that's what I was saying. If there was money, yeah, I would have paced differently. But considering this was a personal challenge, this was like, yeah, no, I feel really good. Wow, I feel even better. 3rd climb comes around, I'm like, man, I feel even better. So, like, seriously, at that point, it's like, I feel great. We're 3 out of 8 down. I'm taking 160 grams an hour, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, keep going. Like, why not? Right? Why not at that point in time be like, let's just keep this going, you know, and see what we can do, because we're now, you know, fast forward 20 minutes, we're halfway through the halfway point climb, and we're on for 7 flat, as I said. So it's like, let's just keep going, right? Why at that point would you logically say, like, yeah, no, this is stupid, let's slow down at 280? It's like, my legs have felt better with every passing climb, right? And so let's just see what we can do. As I said, there's no risk in terms of, oh, if you mess this up, you know, you're not getting paid. No, there's nothing. This is just a personal challenge to see how good I could do. So it was kind of just, that's how I felt yesterday. And as I said, it wasn't the initial game plan, but it was kind of like, wow, I feel amazing. And then I feel even better. Oh my god, I feel even better. Maybe we're just having one of those days, right? Let's see what we can do. And so that's why I kept going at that pace. And I started out that fourth climb still at that pace. It was really feeling like a magical day through the first three. And I wasn't being stupid, obviously, like going above LT2. It was like I'm going sweet spot. Of course I could go harder. As I said, I could have done 38s. But it was like, it was a controlled hard. It was hot. Core temp was very high. But yeah, let's just see what we can do. So, I don't have any regrets, really. Obviously, there's always going to be a little part of you that's like, oh, man, you had the thing, right? Because, you know, it's not the type of thing that I could roll around tomorrow and be like, yeah, no, let's do it again. So, yeah, part of you feels like that. But for the most part, most of me feels like I felt really good. I was just rolling with it at that point. And so now, in the second half of today's ride, what do we do differently for next time? Maybe the important. So, nutritionally, I did find taking constant amounts quite difficult on the climb, given that at 100% trainer difficulty, and if I said this yesterday, sorry, but I'm just saying it again, you have to change gears so often. It's kind of like, it's mind-boggling. If I had the Garmin or the Quark connected to a Garmin instead it was connected to the computer, I probably would have seen yeah, I mean, I agree that it's something you could do, but I don't think there's a guarantee, is what I was saying before. Like, you know, it's definitely, you're right. You definitely are in a better position. As before I said, I don't know if you're here, I was saying, you know, every single world record in running from the 1500 meter up has been done with a negative split. So there's no real arguing with a negative split. But I still don't think it's a perfect guarantee, because I know a lot of people, when they come to long events, like really long events, where it's just like, it's always kind of going to be a slugfest, no matter how it's paced. And as I said, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what would have happened, but like, there's a very good chance that, you know, 7 and 8, at least like 6, 7 for sure, are gonna feel hard, because you're 5.5 hours in and asking a big power still. So I just don't think it's a guarantee. And as I said, like, I that's just my initial thought. Like, if I was to do it again, maybe I'd take a little off. I would compromise and say, like, okay, take a touch off. But I wouldn't, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't take so much off that, like, you know, if they were 306, 307, 307 on the first, I wouldn't do 280. That's too low. And it's leaving just too much to do. It's asking way too much of yourself, for me personally, 6 hours deep, to be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna, you know, be pumping out 5 watts per kilo for a 40-minute climb. I think that's a big ask. And the thing is you actually kind of have to go faster than that. Because if you give back 3 minutes in that first climb, Like literally, in that first climb, if you give back 3 minutes on the record, you now need to make 3 minutes over the next 7 climbs. So let's say that's 30 seconds a climb. 30 seconds at a 41-minute climb. To take a 41-minute climb down to 40-30, we're talking the difference of about probably 10 watts. Like 10 to 12 watts different. It's a big difference. Like 290 is different than 302, 303. It's they're different times. I did one a couple, like I think it was the Wednesday before. I think I was going 305s on them, and my guy was rolling through in about 40-30. And so yeah, it's about that, about like 10 to 15 watt, 10 watt, let's say, conservatively, 10 watt difference. Yeah, and it was a learning thing for next time. Like I was saying here, the climb had so many gear changes that I did find it hard, even though I was on my nutrition through 3 hours, especially when times started getting harder and like your focus is wavering a bit. Like your focus is unfortunately shifting to the fact that you feel horrible. As weird as it sounds, even though you feel horrible, which means you should be taking carbs, more carbs, even more. The thing is you're feeling so horrible that you're almost not taking as many, if that makes sense, because you're not as, like, aware. You know what I mean? I know that sounds really weird, but, like, it's almost like paradoxical. Like, you should be taking more because you feel horrible, but you feel so horrible that you're not really thinking about taking more. You're just kind of thinking about, like, my God, get to the descent as fast as possible. I mean, I do. Like, I think, so, on the nutrition, I've already thought what I'm going to do. There are so many gear changes that I found it hard, and just, like, you know, it is just, as I said, a little bit distracting to be like, I got to reach over and grab my bottle, make, like, a conscious effort. So I'm going today. Will it be today? No, I can't today. But maybe tomorrow, I'm just going to go over to Home Hardware, and I'm going to get a little plastic tube, probably about 3 feet long, and I'm going to have that tube go from where the fluids are. I'm kind of going to make a canyon, little hydration system, where it's just going to go from my bottles, and then the tube's going to rest right here. And then I'll be able to just go down a little bit, suck in some carbs. Yeah, and that's the thing too, like, it's a great point. Like, as much as you want to just be like, okay, chug a bottle right now. It's like, I'm going to chug a bottle, a 500 ml bottle with 80 grams of carbs in it. I feel like you're asking for, like, you might vomit. You know what I mean? That's why I think you guys were right that it's, and that's why I did it yesterday. I did the granola bar, I did the banana, just because you can get in the energy, like some energy. It's not as concentrated, but it's a little bit different of a medium, just to kind of get that in, so that you're not having to just be like, I'm gonna chug half a liter. Like, that's it's a big task on your stomach to chug half a liter in, you know, a couple minutes. Even though it might be the right thing to do, it also might result in vomiting. And so, yeah, I think it's a little bit playing with fire a little bit. Again, a little bit paradoxical that it's like you need stuff, and yet your ability to take And you're right, like the absorption, you're getting dehydrated, hence the absorption going down. So it's like, you know, you need stuff, but you're actually not able to take as much as you were in the beginning, which is why, going back to the next time I'm gonna, in the warm-up, I'm gonna load a bottle right then and there, like a very quite concentrated bottle. So I'll practice that in training, taking a huge bolus of carbs in the warm-up. So I'm gonna practice this pretty much every day, like on my like harder sessions, where like the first 30 minutes I'm gonna take a lot, and so that hopefully can carry me through a little bit. That like you're at least sparing the liver glycogen a little bit for those first little few climbs. And then yeah, the other is, as I said, having a straw slash, this will be a home hardware tube going from bottles to mouth, so that throughout the entire climb I can take. Yeah, I am. Like, I think it's still a really good time. Like I talked about, like it's a hard ride no matter what. And even though, yeah, it was disappointing having the bonk come. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, fairy tale and be like, well, you know, whatever. It was disappointing because it does, sometimes it feels, you have thoughts go through your mind, even this morning, like being like, oh, was my training for nothing? You know, was I able to actually execute my training, like, to my best of my abilities? Or is that just kind of like wasted, all those hours? I don't think so, because like looking at the numbers, like here, I'll just pull back up. So yesterday the entire ride was 267 normalized power for 7 hours and 39 minutes and 30 seconds. If we go to the week before, my long ride was 6 hours 8 minutes, and it was a very good long ride, like really, really good. And that whole ride, what is this giving me? Oh, right here. So that whole ride was a great ride. 6 hours 8 minutes, no descents, so no 11-minute periods where you're at zero. And that whole ride had an average power of 252. Normalized power was 259. So yesterday was 267 for 7 hours 40, compared to 259 for 6 hours 8, right? And so it's like, yes, there's a taper, so like you should be a little bit higher, but I'd say that's a pretty big, that's a 10-watt difference. And keeping in mind, there's an 11-minute descent every single time where you're not putting a lot. If we go to the long ride the week before, another great long ride, this was a fantastic one, 250 average, normalized 252, and that was for 5 hours and 46 minutes. If we go to the long ride the week before, 5.5 hours, and that was 244, normalized 247 for 5.5 hours. So this was, like, objectively, it was the highest power I have done for longer, right? Like, if compared to the other long rides. And so even though you get that thought going through, thinking like, did I just like waste the training, you know? Did I just not take advantage of all that work? It's like, I mean, technically you exceeded it. Yeah, so I do a ton of heat training, absolutely. And it was very hot. I think that led to the heart rate increase being where it was. I think, yeah, someone said yesterday about the adrenaline. I think that's fair for the first climb, but for like climbs number 2 and 3 and stuff like that, it's like I feel like your adrenaline should have burned off at one point, like at some point there. And yeah, it was very hot. How would I change it? I didn't really feel hot. Like I was probably getting the effects of it, where I'm sweating like crazy, and seeing high heart rates. But I wouldn't say, like on those first 3 climbs in particular, where I'm seeing the core temps 38.7, I don't think it was actually holding me back. Maybe it had an effect later on that 4th and 5th. But I think the heat training worked in that, whereas in the past, if I saw 38.7s, like there's no way that I'm climbing 3 climbs 39.30s. Controlled feeling, easy feeling. So I think it's basically like you see the effect, or I'm seeing on the screen, oh my god, yeah, it's hot, and yes, I'm sweating a lot, but I'm still able to put out numbers. You know what I mean? Like I'm still putting over 300. So it's not affecting me to the point that, you know, I've had rides here on Zwift before, even live streamed one of them, where I was doing the Alp, and I just said halfway through, I'm like, it's too hot. I gotta back off. It's just too hot, and you kind of get that panicky feeling, like, my God, like, I can't do this. And you know, then eventually I think I got it back going for the last little bit, but I just had to back off completely. And yesterday it was like, well, I think I saw effects from it, potentially, and felt like, yeah, it's pretty, like, I'm sweating a lot and seeing really high core temperature. I don't think it was holding me back from the numbers. It's too much. But I will keep working on it in terms of my setup. I want to move my fan a little bit. Just with how much I'm out of the saddle on the Alp, I want to move it just a little bit so it gets me a little bit more when I'm out. This is a new fan that I got 3 days before, and the reason I got it was because I had seen the forecast and thought this 20-year-old one was just not going to be good enough. And so that old thing of don't change things, I did. I thought this would be better, and I think it was. The thing is really strong, really powerful. Like, I think if I was on my other one, it would have been rough. But I still got to kind of tinker with it a bit to get it perfect, like exactly how I want it. I hope that answers the question. But I think the heat training worked. I'll keep doing it. I think my biggest thing with the heat training, what I found with it, is like, for me at least, has it helped me perform better in the heat? Yes, like I said, like, in that my numbers weren't reduced that much, if anything, yesterday, by it. I was still obviously getting dehydrated and sweating a lot. But I think my biggest thing with it is actually, like, my goodness, when you come off a heat session and the next day you're doing a quality set, it just feels so easy. Like, it feels like you're coming down from altitude. Kind of like, holy smokes. Like, so I almost think the heat training helps more with the cooler weather training than it does with performance in the heat, if that makes sense. Like, it's like, even though, you know, you would think like, okay, the heat training's just so that, you know, if you go down to Florida, like, you can perform really well. But what I've found is it helps me a lot in the non-heat sessions, makes them feel really easy, and because of that I can push the power really high in those sessions and maybe get more training stimulus that way, right? Instead of for a threshold set being 330 or something like that, because we did a heat session the day before, 330 feels really easy, the heart rate's really low, and we're able to go to 340. So we're getting the adaptations from 340 instead of 330. So we're pushing more power, and so we're getting better. That's kind of what I've noticed. So you're right, like I so far, like I haven't had a full test of it. Like if I was going down to Florida, that would be a full test to see like does it help. But it is the cooler sessions where I've felt the biggest difference versus heat helping the heat. It's more heat really helping the cool. We still don't have the air conditioner covered. Like the air conditioning can't be on just with the winter here. But yeah, when the air conditioner is on, it can get nice and cool down here for sure. But right now it's the AC's still got a cover on it. We just yesterday had some snow melt. But we have more snow actually coming this week and next week. So the weather's kind of, it's definitely not AC levels yet. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the day. It's still, I think 7:39 is still a really good time. My next things, as I said, it's more about the setup and the timings more than training. I think it's not so much like, oh, I really want to do X, Y, and Z sessions before it next time to prepare. It's more like, no, I think I just need to like clean a few things up, right? And then, I think we can get it. It's not I think we can get it, I know we can get it. And so we'll see this week kind of how the recovery goes. As I said, my legs feel perfectly fine right now, actually. But we're pushing 150 watts, so, I mean, it's like the weight of my legs taking the pedal down. I'll probably do my first workout maybe like, say, Thursday. But like a easier workout. And then long ride Saturday. And then based on how that long ride goes, then determine timings. In terms of when do we do the radio tower and when do we do that one again. Yeah, a bit, or a lot actually, but yesterday's the intention was negative going into it. But I just felt great on the first, which anyone can feel good on the first. But the key for me was then, when I rolled around on the second, I felt even better. And I still felt like I was actually holding back, even though I was ahead of pace. And then I came around on the third, and I felt even better. And I'm even more ahead of the pace. And I still feel like I'm holding back. And on the fourth, halfway up it, I'm still bang on pace. Still felt pretty good. And then it was very sudden. It went from feeling very good to I'll just finish this answer. So yeah, it was the negative split was the intention going in, but it was just, I felt just better and better on 1, 2, 3, and half of 4. That I was just kind of in my head thinking like, I think I'm just having one of those days here. The power's coming stupidly easy. I don't feel like I'm pushing it all. I'm nailing my nutrition. And it just kind of became a thing of like, let's see what we can do here. Like, we're basically halfway through. And I'm now, 20 minutes, as we talked about before, at halfway up the third climb. Or the fourth climb, sorry. So the halfway point of the climb, I'm 20 minutes ahead of record pace. And so it was kind of like, let's just keep going here. Like, because I'm 20 minutes in the bank here. Which is like, it's not like we're a little bit ahead of pace. I am miles ahead. Right? That even part of me thought like, hey, if we fade off a bit here, I've got 20 minutes in the bank. But so to answer the question, it was less intentional than maybe it seemed. It was more like a game time, in the moment kind of decision than like the intention was to fade. Definitely the intention wasn't to bonk like I did. But yeah, the intention was definitely negative split going in. But then just things happen on race day, right? Where race day is upon us, and it was kind of like rolling with the punches. That it was just like, nah, I'm basically halfway through. I feel fantastic. I'm going to try to shatter this record. You know, like, I'm not going to break it by a second here. I'm going to absolutely dismantle it. And even if we fade a bit, like, you're never planning on a bonk, especially when you're taking 160 grams an hour at that point. You're not like, yeah, no, a bonk is imminent. You know, it's coming. It was more like, let's just see what we got here. I feel great. I don't see any reason to slow down. So it's definitely more a game time decision. In terms of in real life racing, so on the bike, we're doing national time trial. And then in the world, in the first half of the year, I'm actually going to compete age group. I know that sounds weird as a former pro, but I don't think it's really right to, even though I could just basically write to Triathlon Canada and be like, yeah, hey, so, you know, I'm a former pro, here's my money. And yeah, they would, in all likelihood, grant me a pro card. I don't think it's really right. I think you should kind of earn it back, like, legitimately. And so, which should be fairly easy. But, like, I still think it's the right thing to do, rather than to just, like, basically say, like, hey, I'm a pro. Like, I already am a pro. Like, here's my money. And I'll sign up for a few pro races. Like, it's like I haven't competed pro since December of 2021. Right? So it's like, it's not really right to me to do that. And so, I'm going to do a couple 70.3s, staying relatively close to Ontario here. And so I'll do a couple. Like, I anticipate that you'll get it after the first one, but I'll still do a couple. And then after the second one, like, those will be, there's a few options in around late June time. So I'll do a couple, and then as I said, they'll all be close to Ontario, so there's There's a few. There's Muskoka. There's Muscleman. There's Tremblant. There's a few in around that time. It's just figuring out which one works best with the time trial, as the time trial is quite a big one for me to try for. Obviously not going for the, like, I'd love to win, but I don't think I'm going to beat a guy from Team Ineos. But, hey, never know. But, yeah, which one works best with the time trial. And the other reason that I don't think competing pro right off the bat, first weekend of June, let's say, is the right thing, is because, so my bike's where it needs to be. It's more than it needs to be. Like, based on yesterday, honestly, like, doing a 2-hour bike, like a 90K bike, I have no doubt in my mind I can quite easily hold 5 watts per kilo for a 2-hour bike. Like, I don't think there's any, like, the numbers are there. I'm 3 hours in practically, and we're at that for 3 hours with 11-minute descents in between each. So it's like, we're more than there. Just gonna finish the lap out here. The bike is, that's what I was saying, the bike is there. The run is actually coming quite well. I haven't been doing workouts yet, but I honestly might not go to doing workouts for a while, because I'm seeing good gains on the run right now, just being safe with it, that I'm not gonna like be like, okay, let's get back to doing tempos right now. We need to. I'm seeing gains with what I'm doing right now, which is just kind of running easy, you know, zone 2 runs. And so it's like, let's just keep that going. And if we start seeing a pretty big plateau, then we'll start adding things in. So the run basically in June, the run will be where it needs to be. The bike will be where it needs to be. The swim, I feel really good in the water. Like aerobically, I feel great. And that's probably from the bike. Like, I feel like I could just kind of go all day. But my speed is not where it needs to be like, yeah. So, you know, I'm going to be holding 115 for a 2K. No. My threshold speed is not there, and my takeout speed is not there. It'll come. I have no doubt that it'll come. But to say, like, will it be ready for, you know, end of May, early June for pro racing, I think that's a big ask. So I think I need more time on the swim, and so that's why the other advantage of doing just a couple age group races in June before going back to pro, I think will be good, because the age group field, you know, there's no, you don't need to, you know, get your takeout speed for the age group, really. Like, obviously I think there's advantages to getting your takeout. I'm fresh, see? I think there are advantages, like trickle-down advantages, to getting your takeout speed really good, because the faster you can get your, wow, that's loud. The faster that you can get, like, your 25s and 50s, there'll be a trickle-down into that, like, steady threshold effort. Let me just keep talking here for a sec. So there'll be a trickle-down 100%, but it's not necessary in the sense that you need to get your takeout speed set to a point where you can stay with the group, right, on the swim. If your takeout speed's not there, then it could be a darn lonely swim. And so get ready to swim, you know, 1.9K on your own. And with that, bleed, you know, 5-6 minutes, right? Which is just like, you can't give up 6 minutes in the swim, or 5 minutes in the swim, because, you know, you're out there swimming, you know, 28 minutes, let's say. or 27, 28 minutes, and meanwhile the other guys are swimming 22s and 23s, and the second pack's in 24s, whatever. But like, just you not gonna make up 5 minutes with how nowadays there's no real draft effect on the bike, but there still kind of is a bit. But I don't think I'm out biking guys by 5 minutes. Is my point. It's like, I could hold my own right now, I think, on the bike, theoretically. Obviously, this is speaking because, we're just going based on upright powers right now. So theoretically, I think I could hold my own. We're not there yet. Like, we haven't tested this, outside on the road just yet. But at the same time, we're not making 5 minutes up. And so, yeah, I think the next time my pacing will be, I'm not going to go down. So my pacing things were, I was 306, 307, 307, and then 301 through the first 20-ish minutes of the fourth. I'm not going to, based on the thing is, it hasn't scared me to the point that I'm like, I'm going to take the 306, 307 and bring them way down to like 280, 285, 290. I wouldn't do that drastic of a drop, but I'll do a little bit. So like, instead of 306, 307, bring it down by like to 300. Just like a little reduction. But I wouldn't do so much that I'm needing to, and I think I talked about this already. I wouldn't do so much of a reduction that I'm needing to make up 3 minutes in the final 2-3 climbs. So I wouldn't ride the first one at 44 minutes and then have to have it so that, climbs 6, 7, and 8 are 40, 40, 40 to get back to that 41. 41 is what it needs to be per climb. And so, yeah, I wouldn't give back so much time that I'm needing to make up, like banking on being able to make up a huge amount in the final, but holding back just a little bit compared to what I was doing, that is. Like, so taking it instead of 306, 307, taking it down to that 300 and sitting there. And then if we feel good, then hey, we feel good. But just being a little bit more disciplined, but not scared. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not scared of 307. I still think actually I could hold 307. I do. I don't think after yesterday I'm like, well, 307 is just, it's too high for me right now. I still think I could hold it. But to give it a better shot of the record, even though I'm fairly confident you can hold that, we're going to just bring it down just a little bit. So for 41 minutes, you're very close to 5 watts per kilo. At 61 kilograms, so 5 watts per kilo is 305. For 41, you're right around 300. In like 297 to 300 would be the power for 41. If I hold 305, then you're going 40 flat, or very, very close to that, depending on power-ups and stuff along the way. I got a lot of XP yesterday, but yeah, it's high 290s, 300 flat to be sure of it. Without power-ups, it's about 300 flat. I did that a week before, and it's pretty much bang on 300 flat. Without power-ups, that is. And so, yeah, with power-ups, you're maybe like 297, depending which ones you get. 298. In that range. I hope that answered that. So, yeah, I would take it down slightly, but not because I'm scared. That yesterday's thing didn't scare me. away from it. It didn't scare me thinking like it's just way too hard. I can't do it. It didn't scare me at all. It made me think, no, I think I could beat it. I think I could destroy it. I still think I can. And yeah, I even thought that yesterday, I said this before, that, where was it? Intervals. Even through, that was it. Yeah, so even through the fourth climb, at the bottom of the fourth, which includes 20 minutes of me like in La La Land, I hit the bottom of the fourth at 3 hours and 25 minutes, which means you would be at the bottom of the eighth. Even if, like, keeping that in mind, it means you're still on pace for a 7:11, which is breaking the record by about 10 minutes. And so, yeah, I think it's very doable. It just is we got to clean up a few things. A few things here or there, and I have a good idea of the first time for anything is going to be a learning experience, and I learned a lot, just what it feels like, what different things, even with things like the live stream, because that's another thing too. Like, the live stream changes things, and I'm not saying this like begrudgingly against the live stream. It was amazing, and that's how I want to end this video. The live stream support was amazing yesterday. I don't think I've ever had more views on a live stream. I think when I logged off yesterday, it was at 2,032 views, which I was just like, holy moly. Like, that's like 100 times what a normal live stream of mine would get. It was unbelievable, and I will 100% be doing the next one on live stream. 100,000%. Because the support in the chat was incredible. But, and so I shouldn't say but, like, it's however, like, it's just more like just something for me to think about for next time, is it does change the ride a little bit from what I've been doing in training, right? Like, people talked about adrenaline before. It's different when you're on a live stream than when you're on a 6-hour ride on your own. It is a little bit different, because you're kind of like you're on a screen, right? Even if you see that there's only 5 people, because I've had live streams where, like, there's 3 people watching, there's 4 people watching, whatever. It still changes it. Like, and that's what's crazy. Like, it still changes the feeling a little bit from what, like, a normal just Thursday afternoon training ride is. And it changes the adrenaline and stuff like that. And so now that I've felt that and felt what bonking feels like while on a live stream, because bonking yesterday would have been different if I was on my own. I can't say exactly how I would have reacted. I tell you, there'd be more swearing, for sure. You're trying to hold it in a little bit when you're on a live stream. You're trying to kind of temper it down a little, the frustration and whatnot, a little bit. But, like, even that's different. So it is a different feeling, so it's good to experience it. Me too. And that's why it was the initial plan. I said this to my sports psychiatrist there on Monday. I said, one of the things that drew me to the training, and then I'll get off because I'm talking you guys' ears off, I feel like. But one of the things that I really loved about the training was there were a couple rides where, like, what I like to do a lot of times on my rides, if people are following me on Zwift, is I like to finish pretty hard. Like, with some intervals. Some late ride intervals is kind of a standard set for me. So it'll be like a big chunk of riding zone 2, like in a 7-zone model. And then we're going to finish the ride with intervals. And I said this to her. I said that I've had some rides in the build-up where there were sections in the zone 2 part where I did not feel good. And then I started the intervals at the end of the ride, the higher power intervals, and it was just like like switch went off and I felt amazing. And the adrenaline rush, this is what I was saying to her. I said the adrenaline rush that I got from being 5 hours deep or 5.5 hours deep and seeing over 5 watts per kilo, and you're just like cranking power and you're feeling like, give me another one, give me another interval. That feeling is one of the best feelings in all of endurance sport, I think. When you're like that deep in and you're in that like flow state, right? Like you're tired, obviously, but like you've kind of passed into this other dimension. Yeah, it does. It really does change the feel of the ride 100%. Like it's your adrenaline's a little bit different. Even like things like you do, like mannerisms are different. I'm being very like open here. Like there are things that you do when you're on a live stream, like when you're in training, like like you're you could do whatever. Like even taking the urine break yesterday. Like when I'm in training, I have a water bottle, I put it there. Like that's different, right? But even just things like, you're more fidgety. It seems like when you're on a live stream than when you're in person, right? Like you're on display, right? There's no, you're not picking your nose, and I'm not saying that you are otherwise, but like it's kind of like that. Like you're doing like a performance, and it's not quite like you're not playing something up for the camera. I mean, but it's a different feeling because you're not really in your own. You're kind of in both. You're in two worlds at the same time. You're trying to focus on yourself, but you're also very aware that there's a live stream going on, if that makes sense. Like you kind of feel a little bit separated, more so than when you do in training, when it's just like I got blinders on and I'm staring at my Garmin. Right here, it's like you're kind of a little bit in two places at once, and so it's good to experience that, because I think I used to live stream a lot, and the more you live stream, the more that kind of goes down, and the more you start to feel a little bit more natural. Like it's like you can just kind of go through your normal rhythm, but I'm not going to live stream, because I've done that before in the past, where I've started live streaming just like random Thursday workouts. But to be honest, it doesn't do it for me when you have like, I have literally had, this has been fantastic, by the way, today. So super appreciative of all the comments, because I have had workouts done where I've live streamed like a Thursday workout, and I've seen there's been like 1 or 2 people, but like 0 things in the chat. And I tell you, that is also pretty hard to deal with, like on a live stream, because you're like, I don't really know if anyone's watching here, because you start talking to the camera, but you kind of are like, I don't actually know if there's anybody listening. Like I don't know if there's anybody on the other end here. So it's a really weird feeling, but like I see that there's 2 or 3 people, like it says watching, but like there's nothing going on in the comments. So like, is that like a bot watching, or is this a real person just kind of like, looking and thinking like, what the heck is this person doing? So it's a weird feeling. So I wouldn't go back to streaming just regular workouts, because they don't get the interaction, they don't get the viewership, because it's, and rightly so. It's like doing an Everest thing is obviously going to have more interest than me saying like, Thursday Zone 2 ride, here I'm live streaming it. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, who cares? Yeah, it is a weird one. It was like the last long ride that I did. I felt pretty crap through the Zone 2 part. And then, man, when those intervals started, it was like, my God, where did this come from? Like, it was such like and that was such an adrenaline rush from that. because it was like you kind of felt like this ride's not really going how you wanted it to go, how you envisioned it going. But here, now you're cranking intervals, and it was I think I was doing 6 times up the radio tower, and I was like, man, give me, I could do 10 of them, I could do 12 of them, I feel like I could do half the Everest right now, like, and I'm already really deep into this ride, but it just had that feeling. And I mean, it's a good lesson that, like, sometimes, and I do think I should have done this yesterday, when I felt the bonk coming, just in the first couple stages, I should have dealt with it a little bit differently, where I was, at that point, I was like, just like, get me to the bottom, because I know I'm in trouble here. Get me to the descent. I think I should have changed it a little bit and just been like, let me do some intervals here. Like, just to try to break this climb up here. So I'm going to do like a low stress turn. Like, the Alp is really great for that, because it's so segmented, right, with the turns, the switchbacks. So it's like, I should have just been like, I'm going to go 220 to here. And then I'm going to go back up to 270. And I'll go 220, 270. And like, it's just playing games like that. It is hard to do when your mind is feeling kind of scrambled. But as we said here, like, sometimes just even a little spike up of power. And people have talked about this with marathon runners too. Like, sometimes when you're feeling horrible in the marathon, throwing in a little, you're right, like counterintuitive is a good word for it, like that. Counterintuitively, sometimes if you throw in just like a little spike, like a almost like a stride, like, 32, 33K in, sometimes that could just kind of like reignite things and just kind of switch things up a little bit and just break that negative cycle that you're kind of going into, because you're kind of spiraling out of control. And so if you just throw in a little surge, even if intuitively, like, it seems weird, you're throwing in a surge when you're like really low on power, but like, it could really just change things up. And so I think I kind of should have done that a little bit. But I was starting to, it was hard yesterday. That was a hard part mentally, for sure. And I'll remember this for next time, because that feeling was very difficult to deal with, because I felt like, and I said it on the stream yesterday, that I could see the record going away with every passing minute. And it was actually causing it to pass faster than it would have, because I was getting so... I know from having bonked many times before, I know it's going to come back. I know my energy will come back. I just need to kind of reset, take some fuel, and I know the rough patch will pass. That's what I said at the beginning of the ride. It's not a wall, it's a wave. It will come over you. It will pass, right? And so, even though I knew it was going to pass, I was kind of like in this like frantic state of like, it needs to pass now. Because with every single minute that it's not passing, the record is going further and further and further, right? So it was just like, I know it's going to pass, but my God, you got to pass, like, you got 5 minutes, and it needs to be done in 5 minutes. Or like, it needs, after this descent, we need to be back. And that anxiousness, we know this from, there's been research done on this, that stressing during or before a race, that before the race in particular is what they've looked at, it literally burns glycogen. So like if you're stressing about the fact that you're in a rough spot and the record's going away, the thing is you're actually burning energy faster because you're stressing about it. Then if you were to be relaxed and be like, it's all good, we've been here before, like, we'll break this up, we'll do each turn like this, that, and the other, and that's what I'll do for next time. But this one I found it very hard versus a training ride where I'm just like holding zone 2 and there's a rough patch, right? Here there's a rough patch and I know it's going to pass, but my God, I needed to pass really, like, I needed to pass 10 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Because the record is going bye-bye. Um, and it was really painful to think about, like, in that moment, I mean, of I was gonna dismantle this. 2 minutes ago, I was having dreams in my mind, being like, I think we're going sub 7. like it was getting to that point. It was like, my God, I'm running 39:30s and barely trying, like, and then all of a sudden, now I'm like, holy smokes, I don't even like. This is gonna be horrible finish here. Like, I got 5 climbs to go or 4 climbs to go, right? And this is way earlier than I thought things would start happening. Um, anyways, I'm rambling, and it's because my mind and this is literally my last sentence. It was an odd experience yesterday, a kind of a surreal experience, and other people, well, you guys will know this too if you've done like ultra kind of events. What a bizarre experience where you're starting riding at like 10 a.m. and then, periodically from time to time, I'm kind of seeing in the top right corner of my screen the clock there, and I'm seeing like 4:30, 5, and you're like, my God, it's 5 o'clock. Like, it was such a weird experience. And so when I got upstairs and eventually got showered and everything like that, and I had a phone call with my mom afterwards, because she was very, very helpful during the stream, giving me encouragement and everything. And so we talked on the phone, and it was probably 9 o'clock. And so I'm rambling right now, I'll say, and I know I am. So apologies. But it's because, like, by the time I finished everything last night, it was already like 9 o'clock. By the time I, have refueled and stuff like that and kind of settled down a bit. And by settled down, I mean trying to like upload various things, like the dual recordings and all this stuff, and submitting the thing to the Everest and doing all these little things and looking at numbers. By the time that was all done, it was like midnight. I think I ended up going to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And so you're getting me rambling right now because I still haven't really settled. Like, I didn't really have a chance to just like sit on the couch and just like calm. So unfortunately, you're getting a lot of rambling because I'm still up from it. I haven't come down yet because I haven't really had a chance to kind of chill. Because of how long the day is, like, because of how long into the day it went. It wasn't like yesterday I finished at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and was like, chilling for the next 7 hours. It was, as I said, it was 10 o'clock at night, and then like by the time dinner's done, and so it's just like I'm still wanting to check, like, okay, I gotta submit this and that and do that. But anyways, yeah, and that's it. It's what I was gonna say is it's such. I said this at the beginning. I think it's such a long event for anybody that in terms of like dissecting it's really hard to dissect it like in 10 minutes, because it's like, well, how was the first climb, second climb, third, fourth, fifth? Like, how it, like, there's so many components to it. Right? How are the gear changes, the nutrition, like the gearing, I mean, the nutrition, how are you physically? Like, were there any hot spots that came up? Like, yesterday, I did feel a little bit into my right Achilles at one point, and it was kind of making me a little bit nervous. So, like, there are all these things that, like, you haven't even thought about yet, right? So there's so many components to it. But anyways, I was, yeah, and this is, you're right, exactly. This is the part I love. Even though, like, your mind is, like, scrambling everywhere, I actually love this feeling, right? Because, like, there are just so many things that now I could go off and think about, and practice and train for, and I did, and then I'm done, because I'll get up for lunch. But I did love the training for this. Absolutely loved it. Um, did the day go exactly as planned? I would have rather broke the record. Um, but I still think it was a great experience. I think that was helped by the fact that the live stream and you guys were fantastic throughout. Um, and I think for next time will be even better. I learned a lot, and the experience was such that I'm not at all. Because I know some people, I do know some people who do the Everest, and they're like, I'm never doing that again. People do that with marathon running too. They do a marathon and they're like, I am never running another marathon again. Um, this was a really hard ride. It was. There's no getting around it. The bonk in the middle made it really, really hard. It was very difficult physically and mentally, but it was not at all like I'm never doing that ever again. I'm motivated to do it as soon as possible, essentially. Like as soon as I'm recovered and put in a little couple of these changes and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm going right back after it. And I think that's a good thing. Like it was a good experience. Scrambling's the Frank's bar away. I sometimes wonder what the sports psychiatrist is writing on her pad, thinking like, this guy's out of his mind. I can't get a word in. He's just talking and talking for an hour and a half. He hasn't even taken a breath yet. But this is who I am. I could, if you want, put it this way. If you got a 6-hour road trip, maybe I'll start like renting out my services. If someone has a 6-hour road trip and they don't want just complete radio silence in the car for 6 hours, I would have no problem filling up 6 hours of conversation. Literally. Not a problem. I will talk about you could just tell me what subject you want to talk about. I'll talk about it for 6 hours. I got no issue. It's a skill of mine. Also probably bugs some people too, but talking is definitely what happened here. My thing just went to sleep. Anyways, if there was a competition, I wish there was. I would take home the title. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I'm gonna go back to figuring out how to dual record this, or like upload the dual record this afternoon. This is like a 2-second little tangent. I dual recorded the thing yesterday. Went to upload it to Zwift Power, and Zwift Power said the file was too big. And then I reduced the file size by downloading it from Strava, so now it was under the 2 megabyte limit. Upload again. Nope, didn't want it. It said something like bad gateway or error 413, I think it was. It thought it said it was too long or too big or something like that of a task. So Zwift Power, unless I chunk the ride up, which I don't really know how to do, without like cropping a file and messing up the Strava, but like maybe download the fit file and then try to chop that up. I have no idea. So I don't know if Zwift Power is going to work for the dual record. I saw that DC Rainmaker has a dual record, but you got to pay like $30 a month, which I'm like, heck no, I'm not paying $30 a month for something I'm using once. And then I also saw that this Golden Cheetah could potentially do it. But my God, Golden Cheetah is the most confusing app I've ever seen in my life. And I'm a techie person, but it is quite hard to navigate. And definitely not been optimized for Silicon Macs. For sure. The Mac didn't want to open it. Mac's like, no. I think there's malware in it, I ain't opening it. And I had to go into like security and just say like, just open this app anyways. Like don't worry about it. The Mac was like, no, I don't trust it. It's got a weird logo. Like I don't know what the logo is here. Is that a cheetah eating a brick of cheese? Like what is that? Like I'll take a screenshot and share it on my next stream. But it's a really weird logo. Anyways. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. This has been great. I obviously have more to think about. we might have to do another debrief another time once everything has been even more consolidated. But anyways, this has been fun. Thanks so much.